Hello, welcome to another episode of the CollabTalk podcast. And I'm kind of feeling beat up, Geoff.
I'm sorry. I had to verbally abuse you for an hour before we got on the call. I'm sorry.
No, Geoff and I were just talking. Like I was on the road for a week and a half, and I think at most during that every night I got maybe 5 hours a couple times, but it's like more like 4 hours of sleep each night. So I finally get back from, and in the middle of all that, Geoff, I don't think I mentioned this. I drove from Salt Lake City down to Dallas, which is straight through. It's 18 and a half hours. But if you stop to get gas and things, it extends that. So we did it in 21 hours, my wife and I.
Oof.
And she started a new job down there yesterday. And so I dropped her off at her parents and with her car and all her stuff down there as I continue to wrap things up and some more travel. But I've got the cold. I know you got the allergy battle as well.
Yep. It's yeah, we're gonna sound awesome.
We sound awesome. So very professional. Yeah. Well, we are. So thank you for being here, Geoff. Mr. Geoff Varosky, a senior architect for Insight and the co-founder of the New Janky Workshop on YouTube. And today we're talking. This is the post M365 conference takeaways and other industry news. This is like the remnant of what used to be like the SharePoint conference. And now it, of course, includes Power Platform, a lot of Copilot. In fact, I should tell you about the jokes that I did in my session at this.
Yes.
I know, Geoff, you would appreciate this. So you know that I did my productivity tip session, which I did for a long time. I've done dozens of these sessions at different events and also at the M365 conference with my good friend, Tom Duff. Yep. It's a lot of fun. We rib each other. We go back and forth sharing our favorite tips. So at the beginning of it, I said, and I'll have to show you the slide. I don't have it ready up to share here, but so I said, I used to do these with Tom. And so then I did my intro slide with my picture and details. The next slide has a little picture of Tom, and it says this session is dedicated to the memory of Tom Duff. And it says rest in peace below, and the room just goes quiet. And it was every seat was filled. There's people in the aisles, like it was packed in there. It's quiet. And then I said, well, he's not dead or anything. He's not in the session. He's somewhere else. He couldn't even come to the session. And basically, what I forgot my tagline was supposed to say was like, well, he's dead to me because he didn't come to my whatever. So that was funny. The other thing that I did that you'll also appreciate is that I said I had a slide that said there is no Copilot in this session whatsoever, and the whole crowd like erupts, applause and stuff, whatever. And then the next slide it says, "All right, let's get started." And then the next slide goes up and it's the same. It says no Copilot in this one and a big red X through it. It says, before we get started in the top 20, I want to show you some stuff in Copilot. A bunch of grumbles and things go in there.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, anyways, I have a lot of fun with that session, but it was fun to prank people there, and it went really well. And I always enjoy doing that, and a bunch of inside jokes, poking fun at other people that, in the audience. And so that's always great. But
nice.
Yeah. Did you pay attention to any of the news, any of the updates that were happening last week?
Not live, no. I got some grumbles at things, but that was pretty much it.
It's funny that you remember when you go to these events and we'd all find out together these big announcements, and it was like so exciting. And
yep.
And now it just feels like whether like as an MVP, we're on these calls, we talk about roadmap, we hear about stuff months, sometimes even years, but if not weeks at the very least in advance.
Yep.
And now I don't know. You go to the event and there's then not those big moments, those big announcements. It's, so, but even if you're not an MVP, there's enough that trickles out that you're kind of aware of the major things that are happening. So unless you're just ignoring all of that, you're not reading the blogs, you're not following various folks, then you'll have that surprise. Maybe that's what I need to do.
Yeah, you need to have less of a pulse, basically. Yeah.
Not pay attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, It's there's a lot to go through here today. I think we're just going to jump into it. And Geoff and I have been going through this. Oh, I should also say Sean's not here. Did you notice, Geoff?
Oh, he's not?
He's not here. Yeah.
Sean?
So yeah,
Huh.
apparently, I don't know,
Weird.
client related stuff.
Oh,
Kind of busy or something. I don't know.
he's got a job. Weird.
Kind of strange. I know.
Yeah. Huh. What did that
Who
happen?
knew? I know. I didn't know that about him. So I learned a lot this week.
Yeah, no, that's a very eye-opening information here. Okay.
Well, let's get started. Well, the first thing I want to show you. So it's interesting at the event. I was on calls. I missed like the keynote. Went and followed up. Apparently, you know how I did and folks may not know this. So my mother-in-law and I created the ShareQuilt. So it's made up of cut up T-shirts from various conferences, like all the tech companies and the brands and logos and shows. And we made a quilt that's double-sided. It's hanging on the wall in Building 34 on Microsoft campus. It's officially part of the Microsoft Art Collection.
That's awesome.
So Heather Cook, so we've all known Heather for a long time at Microsoft now. She made a dress out of the same like T-shirts and different shirts as the vendor logos all over it. And so apparently on stage in the keynote, and then called out to me, and I wasn't there. It's kind of a bummer, but
did she let you try it on?
No, not yet.
All right, okay, because that needs to happen. You need a photo shoot. Yeah.
But as I talked to people in the hall, like what was the most interesting thing? Number one thing people talk about is the Copilot pages. So let me pull this up. There we go. And so I'm just like, okay, why is it the most exciting thing for people? Why are they interested in this? And it's as it says below. And we're actually, I was thinking we could just play the video here. Maybe that's the way. Instead of talking about it, let's let Microsoft marketing talk to it. Hopefully the sound comes through.
Probably do a much better job for the next 2 minutes if we could. So
right. All right. I'm going to hit play here. I'll expand it. Just a second.
All right.
Introducing Copilot Pages. Pages is a dynamic, persistent canvas designed for multiplayer AI collaboration. Let's say you work for an EV charging company and there's a new business opportunity. You start in BizChat, where you ask Copilot to do some research on the web. You want some basic information, like the number of daily passengers and information on the number of parking spaces with EV chargers. Copilot pulls the information, and you turn the response into a page, so you can keep working. You want to share what you've got so far, and ask your colleagues to help. So, you tag them. Now, everyone can immediately start to contribute, and you can see their edits in real time. Next, you need to get started on a plan for your proposal. So let's switch over to the Work tab. Here, you can ask Copilot to reference a previous plan to give you a head start. Copilot pulls in the deliverables, work back schedule, and owners, which you add to your page. Immediately, your colleagues can begin updating the work back schedule and assigning owners. The next step is the proposal outline. You want to review the customer needs, so a coworker uses Copilot to pull in a bulleted list of requirements from a recorded meeting with the customer last week. In seconds, Copilot is able to synthesize the discussion and give your team the key takeaways. Now you're ready to start building the proposal. Last year, you landed a similar deal, so you want to reuse that great work. You ask Copilot to use that proposal as a starting point and update it to include the new customer requirements. With one last click, Copilot pulls it all together for you. Pages is an entirely new pattern of work, designed for human to AI to human collaboration.
All right, well, that is cool. What's interesting about this, we were talking before we started recording about like the future of OneNote, and of course there's Loop, and there's you can co-author and collaborate in Word, and you've got Copilot in that experience. You've got Copilot everywhere.
Yeah.
But this is like, you see the features just merging in together.
Right.
The idea, and I'm actually going through and doing Copilot training for a client right now, and showing them this, the fact that you can, you've got your prompt library. It's easy when you create something, you're like, hey, this is the exact result that I want from this prompt. I can save that, or I could even have Copilot go back and say, hey, it took me 10 different questions to refine it to get this end result. hey, Copilot, can you create a prompt where I get this result the first time? And it will actually generate that prompt to give you that result. And then you can save that to your prompt library and share it out with friends. That's all awesome. But this is something where we're working on a project similar to Loop, where I can go and create it, get to the result that I want, save it off to a page, invite people in, collaborate on that. I mean, it's just a very, it's just the co-authoring, the collaborative capability of, it's a combination of AI and the Loop capabilities and all the things that we've been doing in Word and elsewhere. You can output a page to, you can say, I want this now in a Word doc, or I want to dump all this into a PowerPoint presentation and then format it, make it pretty. All things that you can do just very quickly on the fly. It's incredibly powerful. I'm excited about this direction.
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool. I mean, there's functionality. When I first saw it, I was like, does this just like generate content for a SharePoint page or something? I'm like, couldn't you just copy and paste that out? But I mean, after watching through that video, and because the page itself doesn't give you any information at all as to what it does, you have to watch the video. But it does seem pretty interesting in how that's going to tie into their other products. Like OneNote. Is this trying to replace OneNote? I mean, there is the Copilot notebooks functionality too that they talked about. So I don't know how this rolls into that, or if it's going to become part of it. I mean, I guess, they're putting it out there and seeing what kind of traction it gets. And, this might be just beta testing for rolling this into other applications.
Well, Microsoft is really good at giving you 10 different ways to do the same thing. So find the way that fits the way that you work. I know that Microsoft hates the question, at least like Geoff Teeper hates the, which tool when question. It says, look, use the one that makes sense. There is no right or wrong if it makes sense for your workflow, the way that the tools that you're comfortable with work. Right. What the workspace where you're most comfortable, you can get these things done. Right. And so there are some people that are email centric. That's their style of collaboration. They're doing things. There's Copilot there. There's a lot you can do. Like we were talking about, I'm a OneNote guy. Like I don't see how this is still different enough. It's not going to be just where I'm compiling libraries of tabs of all my notes. I go to conferences. I mean, I've got it organized around different things, activities that I do in the notes. When I'm writing content, first place I go to research within my own extended brain, which is OneNote, I go there and search, like, have I written about this? Have I taken notes on this? What knowledge have I captured around this thing? And I usually find things in there. It's like, oh, I forgot I did that. I forgot I captured those notes. And then I'll use that in that content.
Right. Yeah. And it was just with the integration of, I mean, everything's online now. And so we're seeing more and more with AI and, with search in the past too, just everything being connected and being accessible to all of your sources connected together. So it really doesn't matter what product you're doing it in. You can get it into another product somehow or access that data in some way that it's useful in another application.
Yeah. I mean, I could see how something like this was Copilot Pages, where I could take this and publish it over to OneNote or over to Teams or over to SharePoint library, wherever you want to archive those things and move it out of this. So, I mean, again, just what do you want to do today?
And how do you want to do it?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know. Copilot Pages Pro for Business is probably the next one.
So then the next thing, another big piece out there, of course, since the last time we talked and went through things, a few things have happened. This is back in April, all the way back in April last month, Geoff. It's a long time ago. A lot has happened.
I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday morning. So,
but you have the updates to the Copilot, the M365 Copilot app. So you've got, the improved search there. You've got the new create experience, which I love. You can actually go in. if you have the M365, the web-enabled, the modern version of the applications, if you have those licenses, then it will just open up within, open up a Word doc, a PowerPoint, and start creating, and Copilot's there. If you don't have those licenses, just so you know, if you go and do the create, it'll open up like the desktop version of the older version. So I have on two different machines. One of them, I don't have the M365 license installed because I'm shutting down that system, and the other one has everything there. So the way when you click create, it works two different ways.
Yep.
But yeah, there, as you pointed out, the Copilot notebooks to turn your content and data into instant insights and action. And so, yeah, here's the video for this.
I'm going to give you a quick demo of the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. Chat is at the heart of the new experience. It's the home of the app that brings together the content you've created, the conversations you've had, and the unique skills of your favorite agents. With Chat, I can ask Copilot to generate a graph based on some of the work my team has been doing to craft Copilot. Within seconds, it creates an interactive graph based on my work data. I can work with my graph right in the chat, or turn it into a live shareable page, keeping everything interactive and ready to explore with others. Copilot notebooks organize all of my files on a particular project into one place and lets me have grounded conversations about that project with Copilot. Agents give you an AI team with specialized skills tailored to your work needs for things like deep research and analysis. You can pin your favorites for quick access, discover new ones through the agent store, or easily make your own to help with your specific job, all without ever leaving the app. With Copilot Search, we're bringing the power of search and AI together to give you more relevant, context-aware search results. It connects your work data and dozens of apps so you can quickly find what you need. And Copilot can summarize the files so you know what the content is without ever having to open the document. Copilot Create gives you a new way to make images, posters, and layouts, explore visual ideas, and easily work with the projects and files that are relevant to you. It unlocks your company's assets by combining the latest, most powerful image generation models with your company's brand kits. And of course, I can take all of this with me when I'm on the move using the mobile app.
All right. Yeah, it's kind of what we just talked about. And there's other, I think I've written about this, about the research and analyst agents that are out there. When Microsoft announced the wave 2 of Copilot, and the part of the discussion was there's going to be more focused specific features within apps, as well as specific agents that are developed that do core things. And so you're starting to see that these different solutions that come out, that you're more and more capability that is enabled or lights up if you've got the license, if you have Copilot, new features. I always point out that so Copilot, of course, integrated into Team. It's now on the left in Teams. It's in the left nav. You have it up in the right, top right of the toolbar of most of the productivity apps. It's also in the Edge browser. And when you are logged in to all three and working between the browser, the Teams, and the various applications, it recognizes where you are and it opens up and does certain things. Like you'll see in the Edge browser, the chat pops up, the Copilot conversation and things you're working on pop up in the browser, and they're meant to work together. So it's it's incredibly impressive of how quickly these pieces are being added and how fluid it is to move in between the different applications. And I think we're just going to see more of that. That could morph and change, like we were talking about. Like I'm a OneNote guy. You've moved over to OneNote. I don't want to see OneNote go away.
Right.
But it could be in the future we're using it less and less because we have the same capability elsewhere, and it makes more sense for it to live elsewhere until we eventually retire it. I don't know. Microsoft has not talked about retiring OneNote. I don't want to scare anybody out there. Microsoft is really good at saying, 10 years in advance, we're going to shut down this application, and then support will no longer be there, but the app will still work and all that kind of stuff. But there's been no discussion around that with any of the applications here.
Right. And the the agent store is cool. It's like the connector library for the Power Platform that have agents tailored and linking into all the other services that you're using that are outside of the Microsoft sphere. And so I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Just
that's Microsoft going and building the solutions, partners building solutions. You can go in and build things that are internal only, share them with your team, or build things for yourself and be able to find everything centrally.
Mm-hmm.
So there's also more that's happening on the governance side of things. So you have the Copilot Control System. And so we get another acronym, Geoff, the
CCS.
But this is something where there's been a lot of feedback back to Microsoft around governance that, historically, they've not been good about adding governance capabilities in at the onset of new products and features. And that, of course, gave rise to a lot of third-party vendor solutions and things that are out there. But there's things like this to be able to go in and understand, like here, Microsoft Purview apps and agents and data security posture management for AI dashboard, to be able to go and look at what's being used, who created it, when are they being used, where is it being used, how recently it's been used, to look at just standard, just common data for each of the agents.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's good to know somebody's creating these agents that nobody's using, or this one agent is being used across all these different groups. Maybe we prioritize features and enhancements to that one that everybody seems to be using, so having data about the applications is great.
Yeah, and there's licensing impact too, since there's a cost. If you don't have the license and you're using an agent, they're dinging you for every query that's happening there. And so that could quickly spiral out of control, and you need to know where that's happening in the organization.
And when this goes in, I realize it's kind of hard to read from this, but we've got the links, of course, down below to everything. But go take a look at it. So create this dashboard that tells you, hey, look, there are security risks with this. There's the oversharing of content. Here's where the content is being accessed, who's accessing that, whether there's external people that are within this space. And then to build out reporting, usage reporting on all these things. Again, these are just pieces which you would assume would be their day one with every product like this that goes out, but Microsoft is doing that now, which is great.
Yeah, definitely.
Another part of the keynote. So Adam Harmetz there, of course, was one of the keynotes and talked about SharePoint specifically. And he went and he highlighted like the roadmap discussion, and that's hard to see. I was hoping it would open bigger there, but going through and talking about the features that are available now, coming soon, and on the roadmap. So if you're not, following the roadmap, this is a great snapshot of that that Adam leads. There's his spring 2025 updates that he gave last week, and they talked about and they highlighted the volume of content being created. And Geoff, I don't know if you saw this.
Yeah.
So every day, 2 billion pieces of content are added to SharePoint, and over 2 million sites per day.
That's
insane.
Nuts. Yeah.
And so it was kind of a highlight of what's happening with SharePoint, kind of a broader overview, what's happening in each of the different categories. So, and then it gets in, of course, Copilot and agents, what's happening there. So definitely something to go and take a look at if you're a SharePoint person. If you own that, be aware of kind of where things are.
What did you find the most interesting on the roadmap?
I need to go in and look at it more closely. It's funny sitting in all the calls.
Yeah.
I would say that the last 2-3 months especially, I sit in the calls. I was there's a lot of talk about the SharePoint agents and refining that process and the creation of them. That was something that so that would be in the green. It's out there now. I encourage people. That was actually one of my tips in my session for Copilot. To go out and play with the SharePoint agents, because it's one of the places where it's almost like a sandbox for yourself where you're not going to break anything else, build it for yourself, utilize it, become familiar with the capabilities. I'm interested in anything. So some of the things that are coming up there is around the insights and reporting. So the governance side of things, to be able to utilize agents that are developed for specific channels and teams is very cool. And then some of these things like I found this like audio overviews in OneDrive, being able to go in and just listen to a recording. Like that's just something that annoys me. Like I'll download something just so I can get access to that. Where if I had it in preview, like I have this all the time, just let me listen to that.
Right.
Again, the pains of being a podcaster and having to listen to a lot of things. There's, a bunch of little things that are out there. There's been like the talk about the FAQ web part. Like, why has that not always been there?
Right. That was one of my things that I had on here. Like you can easily build an FAQ in Modern, but like, when you're handing it off to, you roll out something for a client, you give an FAQ web part, and then the maintenance of that is kind of not easy for them to do, since they're usually not just SharePoint content people. So an FAQ web part is awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where I would recommend to people, if organizations have Viva Engage, so formerly Yammer, I think it's excellent as an FAQ resource for that, where you can expand on that, have conversation around that item. But within the intranet, if you don't have Viva Engage, having that FAQ web part is powerful. But what I was saying is that, Geoff, I've been so busy to go into the detail. Like I'm not a roadmap follower. Like I'm more of there's a bunch of chatter happening, and I'll go and what is everybody talking about and go and do a bit more deep dive around that thing.
Yeah.
Or if there's something for a specific client and I'm like, okay, this is a pain point. What's going on with the roadmap? Oh, hey, there's something on the roadmap. I'm going to follow that and stay connected on that. But yeah, so this going through kind of the update, it's great to see the stats, see where things are, especially again, being at this conference last week, that historically that was the SharePoint conference. This is the next generation of it. And he also did an article on early April talking about doing SharePoint agent management. This is one of those things with understanding what Microsoft, the guidance they provide of how you start to track, measure, and monitor these things. Like I love generically the idea of a center of excellence around agents, so that maybe you have certain people that are authorized to go in and create agents. I love it that it's wide open to everybody, but you should still, as an IT organization, be aware of what people are creating, what those things do, whether they work or not, and to be able to have some kind of life cycle management around agents. If it's created and 90 days later, no one has ever used it, do you need it sitting there?
Yeah,
maybe.
Exactly.
So, so here's the guidance that Microsoft has about this monitoring usage. I mean, it's still kind of painful to go in and use PowerShell to pull the data out. And so unless you're a PowerShell person, I am not.
I am.
Yeah.
I like PowerShell.
Well, going in and having the control. Hey, look, I drive a stick, so I get it.
Yeah.
I like to have control over that.
Yep.
Like, but it's not part of my role. It's not what I do. So, but yeah, it's a great article. I love Adam's content. His is always very thorough. Now I need to question him whether he's actually writing this or if this team
is it AI
or is it AI. That's right.
It could be.
We should just accuse him, not ask, accuse. Start there. See how defensive he gets and be like, oh, it really is AI right now.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. This was interesting. I don't know anything other than the article reading about this here, but I love this kind of stuff that Microsoft has gone in and done. They've introduced Microsoft Frontline Fridays. So it's a series of expert-led sessions for solutions and best practices for frontline workers.
Yeah.
And I love this kind of stuff. And so, it's just something just short and sweet there. I know that there are the various industry teams do some things like this. Some of them do things like this. But to have this kind of focus, if you've got a lot of frontline worker licenses that are out there where they're out in the field and they're accessing various collaborative capabilities through a tablet, some other device they input from the field,
kiosks or whatever.
Want to get more out of the technology, this would be a great place just to go and follow this series.
Yeah,
love that stuff.
Definitely.
Let's see what else here. So there was an update. So the latest with sharing and OneDrive related,
the hero link.
Yes, love that. I don't know, do you know anything about the hero link?
Just what I read about it. It basically is, instead of creating multiple links to a document when you share it out, and having all the permission mess that happens with that, it's a single link. So you can copy it out of the browser URL bar and send that. And, the permissions are controlled the same as like anybody with the link, only internal users or, view only for specific people. But it's a single link, and that should technically not change until they make some other update to it.
Yeah. Until they change their mind about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's always stuff that's going on. So I did a blog post a week ago. I'm not sure when I wrote it further back, and it published, I think, beginning of last week, about the changes over the last year and a half around accessing files in Teams. And one of the changes that happened at the end of 2023 was it's basically the OneDrive experience in Teams.
Yep.
And so a lot of the functionality, the things that you're used to and navigating around OneDrive, which is greatly improved, have that same experience, consistent experience in Microsoft Teams.
Yep.
Is great. Like, why would it be a different interface?
Right.
It's just like when Microsoft finally went in and said, we're going to make sure that when you click a share button in any product, it should act the same.
Yeah.
Same options.
Yeah.
Because it used to be different. Go into Word, go into PowerPoint, go into Excel, go into anything, and the Teams was just different.
Yeah.
And they consolidated that. They're still working on consolidating tasks across everything. What does it mean when you create a task, where that goes? It's still kind of split between the project management side and the Exchange side.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But everything ends up in the to-do app. So at least there's that consistency.
Right.
So love that. The hero link, other stuff, secure by default, of course. Being able to go in, get the the new sharing model, you can update permissions in bulk. Thank you. Yes. Love that.
Yes.
Make changes there for based on individuals. And then of course the Copilot experience, be able to pull those things in and summarize what it is that you're sharing and push that out there. I just love that integration. Yeah. It feels like it's all coming together, Geoff.
That's been happening since day one. Just slowly, very slowly.
Yes.
It took 25 years, but here we are.
There's not a particular one on here, but I just wanted to alert people to the Microsoft 365 Copilot blog is very active. A lot of great content in here that have like productivity tips and different industry solutions and just value articles, the ROI of AI, leadership kind of things. So just a lot of great content.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is one of those things where You could go and create an agent that looks at this, and any new article comes out, and it actually goes out, recognizes a new article, gives you a summary.
Whoa, that would. Have you done that, Christian?
You remember like Newsgator and other news aggregators, and a lot of them broke, over time, and for various reasons, APIs changed and things that are out there.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people that are using AI, ChatGPT for sure, but Copilot now to go out and pull down this data and alert me when there's a new blog post, but alert me with a summary and how it's relevant to me.
Right. So you don't even have to go and read the entire thing unless you want to.
Right.
Yep.
But I like it, especially if there's, just like I have filters on, and I color code my email coming in. So if I'm, if I'm in the to line versus the CC or BCC line, it treats it different. It color codes that. But I can have other logic that says, but if it's around a project that I'm working on, or if it has to do with my role, if it's important, I'm not named in there, but it's relevant to my job. So there's different logic that you can slowly build in and iterate on so that it scrapes that information, finds it, says, hey, Christian, hey, Geoff, you should pay attention to this.
Yep.
And then finally, this was kind of a big deal. 50 years of Microsoft.
50 years. Wow.
I've got you missed the conference, so you didn't get the stickers, but they have the little 50-year stickers.
I didn't. I like stickers. Did you get me a sticker? No, you didn't.
I put them on the case, on my big rolling suitcase that has all the stickers.
Okay. All right.
So yeah,
I can see it and touch it at some point. All right.
Yes. Yeah. Eventually.
Eventually.
So, this is a lot of, again, if you're interested in this, and it was I think technically it's the 24th year of SharePoint, because I think the first version was officially 2001. They don't count the Tahoe stuff, which would make it 26 years old, I think. But that's going on.
It finally got off its parents' insurance.
Exactly. But it made me think, Geoff, what else turned 50 years old this year?
Not me. I still got another 4.5 years on that one.
So Christian Bale.
Ooh, Christian Bale. Elizabeth Banks, actually, it says that she grew up in Pittsfield, which is not far from where I grew up. Pittsfield, Massachusetts. Really? Who knew? Like, maybe I had a shot as a younger lad, but apparently not.
No. Yeah.
No. Darn it.
There's again a lot of recognizable names there. Penelope Cruz, Amy Adams, Leo. That's what he finally turned 50, which I think he's going to start dating even younger women now because he has to compensate for that.
Get older, you get the fancier car. It's a funneling midlife crisis kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, if you can pull it off, then, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix, Eva Mendes. Yeah. This is just so many folks that Hilary Swank.
Yeah.
The new Karate Kid, Geoff.
I've never watched that one.
Yeah.
There's the originals and that's it. That's
what's crazy. Jerry O'Connell, and I know again he's looked like this for quite some time. I still think of him in the Stand By Me, like that age, the pudgy little kid actor.
Yeah.
I think of him. So
yeah.
And Sarah Paulson, again, just incredible actress. I liked her most recently. So I'm a fan of the M. Night Shyamalan movies, and she was in the third one where she was part of the secret society that was trying to cover up the superheroes.
Which one was that?
That was the third one. So
the Unbreakable series?
It was the Unbreakable.
Okay, yeah.
And then what was the middle one called? I forgot. With the Beast.
It was about the other guy.
Yeah, the Beast guy.
Yeah.
And then there's this third one, Mr. Glass, where the three of them are in like the insane asylum. And so they're the three of them brought together.
Yep.
And so it's like the ending explaining all three together.
Yeah.
If you've not seen this movie, folks, go and see it. It's fantastic. But anyway, Ryan Felipe, who still looks like 16.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was like 16 in The Way of the Gun, and he hasn't aged since.
Nope. So he's got the whole Dorian Gray thing going.
Yeah.
Mr. Seth Green.
Robot Chicken.
Everything
Need we
else.
say more?
Yeah, I think of it. Where is it? Where's the one where he is it Can't Hardly Wait? Where it has he's at it's at the party as teenagers, is like the graduation, and he's the
he's the he thinks he's all cool and everything, right?
Yeah, like he's all like the rapper cool thing, whatever. And
it's the wannabe. That's it.
He's right. He's the one complete wannabe.
Yeah.
Jermaine Clement, of course, from Flight of the Conchords, that he's
and not only Jermaine, but also the other guy is also there. Is that Reese Darby?
Is he on there? Yeah. Oh, hey, is that?
They're both turning 50.
Wow. Okay. Well, is that? Yeah. So, and he's also, of course, he is one of the elves in Lord of the Rings that's there at Elrond and with Elrond hanging out.
Yeah.
Where when what's her head? No, I'm just forgetting the names here as I'm switching over to Lord of the Rings. Runs away, supposed to go to the ships to go into the to the west and never return. And she turns around and is like, "My lady, where are you going?" That was him.
Oh yeah, in the prequel series.
Yep.
Yep.
Matt Berry. My kids love this guy from the IT crowd. They always do it's like one of the memes that we do as a family, where he came in after the boss in the IT crowd. If you don't know the IT crowd, folks, go watch it on YouTube. But where he's the son of the boss jumps out the window when it was found improprieties in the insurance. He was embezzling, so he commits suicide. The son comes and takes over the company, but he comes in the funeral and he does the father. so they do that to me. They'll see me and they'll go, "Father." It's hilarious.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, there's so many here. Wow. Anybody like, honestly, Bern Gorman? I thought he was like 65. I didn't know he was that young.
Pam from The Office.
Wow. Yes. And that's it. Okay, that's Giovanni Ribisi. Yeah. Again, hilarious guy, great actor.
Also, like, just always, like, I don't think he's aged since he was 18 either.
I don't think so either. Yeah. So, well, that's when you have a contract with the devil, Geoff. Yeah. Apparently that's what you get. That's the value there. But yeah. So a lot of excitement going on. I'm sure there are others that we have missed that are on this list, that they're we should go through the list of the B-roll actors. These are kind of top level, but
wow, yeah. That's another podcast.
Yeah. We have more time. Well, listen, go take some allergy medicine. I'm going to go and sit in front of a humidifier for a little while before I do run a workshop later today.
One thing that is of note, however, that I think we need to bring up is that if you're interested in movies and TV shows, like I have props from actual screen use props from some shows and stuff like that. So there's a site called Prop Store, and they have a UK office and they're based in London as well. But they are doing right now a auction for Thomas and Friends. So Thomas the Tank Engine, you can get like an original Sir Topham hat, like, figurine from the show if you wanted to. So hold on, let me send you a link to the actual auction. It should be going through the thing at the top, but yeah, you can own like original from the show screen use Thomas.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's cool stuff.
So, if you don't know and you need to find some way to offload like $50,000 for a screen use Thomas, now is the time.
Very cool. Yeah, this is a great site to send to somebody who has a problem already with collecting.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife thanks you.
It is one problem collector to another. It's not hoarding because it's organized.
Correct. Yeah. Well,
I know where everything is.
That's what I tell her about the piles of papers. When I was going through doing taxes, I'm like, do not touch anything. I know where things are. It's organized piles as I go through taxes. So yeah. Anyway, good times. Well, that's cool. I love stuff like that. I wish I was, there in that stage of life where I could just go and collect more. Like I watch these shows like American Pickers.
Yep.
And not that I want to do that. That is hoarding in almost every case that they come across. But you come across, people that have these side buildings, these outbuildings that are just filled to the brim with different things that are set up and staged almost like a museum, just with very fire hazardy walkways around the things. But like, I get that. I don't ever want to get to that degree.
Oh, I do. That's a life goal.
But but it's pretty incredible. Like I do love the idea of having, and growing up, I had some neighbors that they were car collectors, and not all like classic expensive. Just they loved automobiles. They had 3 giant barns that were mostly filled with cars and obscure things and differences, different versions, whatever they could find over the years.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I don't think he cared about buying and selling so much as I think his kids are just going to, when he's gone, would sell stuff.
Yeah.
But having the space for that and being able to collect and do things, I mean, I love that. I get it. Like American Pickers, I enjoy that show because some of the stuff they find with all the rust and the grime, like it adds to the patina of the thing. Don't redo it. Don't refinish it. Leave it the way that it is.
Right. Throw some clear coat over it and keep it as is.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. But I'm not nowhere near that. But I have a problem with music, with vinyl and CDs and everything else. I have a reel-to-reel video, a Peter Murphy of his video All Night Long. It's not reel-to-reel. I can't use that.
I just picked up a reel-to-reel audio so cassette recorder this weekend for $5 at an estate sale.
Wow.
Yeah,
I love stuff like that.
I mean, sorry, organized collecting.
Organized collecting. Thank you. Yes. Well, that's why I have the with getting ready to move down to Dallas. I'm under direct order to purge as much as possible.
Oh,
I've got the Facebook marketplaces going, and somebody's picking something up today. Chairs that I don't want to get rid of that I really like because they're down in my, my man cave space. But there's just my wife's like, no, you're getting rid of these.
Yeah, you're not paying to move them to Dallas.
Correct. Right. In the new place, there's not the room. I get it. I guess technically there's room for it, but like, no, there's not.
But this gives you the opportunity to collect again,
The opportunity. That's right.
Yes.
That's always the way. This is the way.
Purge and then refill.
That's right. Yeah. Well, Geoff, really appreciate your time. Thanks for being on the show again. Thanks for everybody for watching the podcast. As we do this every so often, I think we're like every other month with you, me, and Sean. Right. And I'd love to, if there's more big news, we'll be doing this again. Like, there's build happening in a couple of weeks, in a week and a half. Yeah. So maybe we'll do a June episode where we'll go through and talk about what was discussed in build.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, with that, Geoff, thanks so much.
Thanks for
watching. We'll catch you at the next episode.
Thanks, Sean.
You've been listening to the CollabTalk podcast. New episodes are published weekly, and you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and most other podcast platforms. Thanks for listening.